As you can probably assume just from looking at my name, I'm a big fan of large homes and mansions. There's luxury in having wings in your house, grandeur in having ballrooms, lavishness in having saunas, and splendor in having, well, a snow room. A snow room that spits snow from the walls and gives you a place for wintertime activities, even in a place like Mumbai. Okay, so I may have gotten a little specific there, but today we're going to talk about a home that has a snow room and much, much more. Because it happens to be not only the most expensive home in the world, but also the biggest house on the planet. We'll take a look at what's inside its walls, talk about who on earth could afford to make it and live there, and we'll see what the locals think of the building as well. In the 15th century, Antillia was a mythical island that appeared on European and Arabic maps. Some believed it was a rocky, misty island full of dragons, and some believed it was an island Christian religious leaders had built 7 beautiful cities on. Some believed it was an island full of riches, where people lived unbothered by the constraints and darknesses found in modern society. However, as intriguing and exciting as all of those are, none of them are true. Antillia was a myth put on paper by map makers and seafarers, which eventually faded into obscurity as sailors began to more thoroughly explore and map the Atlantic Ocean. Well, I should say the name faded into obscurity until 2012, when billionaire Mukesh Ambani dubbed the massive home he commissioned Antillia. It is full of riches, so I suppose the legend did eventually come true. Antillia is located in South Mumbai, India, on Altamount Road, which is known as Mumbai's Billionaires Row. The mega structure was designed by Perkins and Mill, an architecture firm known for doing prestigious university and corporate buildings. It was built by Leighton Holdings, an Australian company who had their work cut out for them. As I mentioned, Antillia is the world's largest home. But how large is it exactly? Well, the house spans 27 floors, which doesn't sound like a ton until you realize that each floor is the height of 2 to 3 average floors because of the height of its ceilings. Really, the home is more like 60 stories tall at 593 feet, which is just about the height of 2 Statue of Liberties stacked on top of each other. And we're just talking about height here. If you want to talk about square footage, and believe me, you do, this home is over 400,000 square feet. That's more than 7 times the size of the White House. All that house is worth a lot of money. Building the home cost $2 billion, and the home is still valued at $2.2 billion, making it the second most expensive building in the world after Buckingham Palace, which I might add, it's about half the size of. The home itself is constructed with primarily steel and glass. It is rated to survive an earthquake up to 8 on the Richter scale. While it was being built, they aimed to make it as green as possible. To do this, the builders incorporated passive ventilation to conserve energy and installed greenery on the walls of living spaces to absorb sunlight and cut down on cooling costs. Plus, it looks pretty darn cool. There are 6 distinct sections of the house, which was a purposeful choice meant to reflect earth, water, fire, sound, and light, which is considered to be the ascension towards enlightenment. I tell you what, I'd probably feel pretty enlightened if I stepped into this house as well. There are sun and lotus motifs found throughout the home, all of which are made of marble, mother of pearl, and crystal. These are meant to symbolize rebirth and ascension, which is very important to the Hindu family that calls this massive house a home. There are 9 high-speed elevators that take you where you need to go in the home, and there are wonders to be found on every floor. We'll start at the top, where you can find not 1, not 2, but 3 helipads. The floor directly under the roof is set aside for air traffic control. I mean, can you imagine having to put a full air traffic control room and staff in your attic? Blimey. The next 6 floors serve as the residential area that's reserved for Ambani's 5 family members. Little is known about these few floors for privacy reasons, but if they're anything like the rest of the house, they'll have lavish furnishings, marble floors with pearl walls, and gold, teak, and dark yellow shades mixed in with light neutral colors. A few photos have leaked showing an opulent living room and a bedroom fit for a king, or a billionaire, I suppose. It's known there are dozens of guest suites on levels below the 6th floor residential area, which are presumably decorated in the same style. Below the residential area is, well, everything you could possibly want in a mall, let alone your home. There's a 2-story health and recreation center, which boasts an outdoor lap pool several hundred feet in the air, a heated indoor pool, a full gym complete with turf, a yoga studio, a dance studio, and a juice bar, so you can juice up after a long leg day. And if you'd like to do the polar opposite of that, there's an ice cream parlor that serves up any flavor your heart desires. Of course, there is another cool area of the home, which you probably remember me mentioning earlier. Mumbai isn't exactly known for its snowy winters. Wanting his kids to be able to play in the snow and having enough money to make that happen, Ambani decided he wanted a snow room built. The room blows artificial snow out of the walls and has room for the kids to sled, build snowmen, and, well, just cool off during a hot, humid summer day. There's a private movie theater which seats 50 people. It has a wine room for the adults, a snack bar, and a relaxed entertaining space with couches and tables. The theater itself has a full-sized movie screen and red velvet seats, which mimic those you'd find at your local AMC. For more fancy occasions, there is a ballroom that can accommodate guests. 80% of the ceiling is covered in sparkling crystal chandeliers, because apparently one chandelier, or even 20, just wasn't quite enough. The ballroom opens up into a large bar and is flanked by green rooms, powder rooms, and an entourage room, which is for security guards and assistants. Further down, you'll find a salon and spa where the whole family can go to get pampered. And even lower than that, you'll find the mega temple. The gorgeous temple takes up an entire floor where the family can go pray, hold holiday celebrations, and spend quality time together. This room is decked out in decadent red, orange, and yellow hues. The bottom 6 levels of the home are dedicated entirely to parking, with enough space for 168 cars. A bit of a car lover's dream, if you ask me. On the 7th floor, there's a car service station where the cars can get tuned up, filled with gas, and even cleaned. Imagine never having to pull into a public petrol station ever again. A staff of 600 people is required to keep the house running, which is 200 more employees than Buckingham Palace has. So, how does Mukesh Ambani have enough money to pay for 600 full-time staff members? As a young boy, Mukesh's family moved to India to start a spice and textile trading business, which slowly started to gain traction in his adolescence. Mukesh planned on going to Stanford, but instead decided to help his family run their business. He and his parents worked together to form Reliance, which expanded from textiles and spices to refining and petrochemicals. As it expanded, it grew wildly in popularity, and Mukesh started thinking more outside the box. He went on to direct and create the world's largest grassroots petroleum refinery, which produces 660,000 barrels of oil per day. After that, they decided to expand to smartphones. Reliance formed their own cell phone network, which has grown to be the 3rd most popular in India. And in 2020 alone, that company has managed to make a startling $20 million in the face of the pandemic, even when other businesses were failing. With his earnings over the years, Mukesh decided to create the opulent structure that is Antilia. But a lot of people had a bit of a problem with him doing that. For starters, for the building to be built, a children's orphanage had to be demolished, which is arguably a bit of a supervillain move. And that being said, the land was sold to Mukesh, though the legality of that sale is still being explored today. So, there you have it, the biggest home in the world. What do you guys think? Is it worth all of $2 billion? Would you like to live here? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. As always, I'm Mr. Luxury. Now, if you don't mind me, I'm off to go house hunting. Pip pip de doodly doo.